everyone, welcome back to Relax with Animal Facts. I am Stef Wolfe, and today I'm going to be learning with you about our furry, scaly, or possibly even slimy friends. And in today's case, it is definitely going to be a slimy friend of ours, because we are covering the oh-so-wonderful elephant seal. This, of course, is a very special listener episode dedicated to James and to Moss. Thank you for taking the time to send in your animal request, and I hope you enjoy your episode. If you would like to request an animal for a future episode, you can do so by going to relaxwithanimalfacts.com and clicking on the Animal Request tab. If you would like 4 extra Relax with Animal Facts episodes per month for around 3 cents a day, you can go to patreon.com/relaxwithanimalfacts. It's totally obligation free. You can cancel at any time, and you can even give it a spin with a 7-day free trial. The wildlife noises in this episode are courtesy of George Vlad. His YouTube is in the description. I encourage you to go check him out, subscribe, do all those good things. We as a show are indebted to his work. And now, let us begin to wind down a little bit. I typically talk a little faster at the top of the show so we can get through some of that introductory stuff. But if you are new, welcome to the Animal Podcast family. I am so glad you are joining us today. If you are returning, you know exactly what I am going to be asking of you. I have 3 primary exhortations for you before we go and explore this animal. My first encouragement to you is that you put on a pair of shoes that you do not mind getting sand in or getting a little muddy. We are definitely going to be needing those today. And my second exhortation is perhaps the most important one, and that is to realize where you are carrying some tension. This is truly unique to the individual, but it is really hard for us to relax and to go deep into these adventures when we are stiff as a board. And so you can just do a little mental scan. Perhaps you are shrugging your shoulders. Maybe you're clenching your hands. Regardless of what it is that is tense for you, I encourage you to do your best to let go. You can even bring up in your mind some Jell-O and to do your best to impersonate it. You can even choose whatever flavor you'd like. And the last thing I encourage you to do is to give your mind permission to wander and journey with me onto an island near North America's mainland where the elephant seal resides. Many of you by now know that I like to think of the sounds of an environment not simply as a bunch of random clicks and indifferent or almost robotic sounds. I like to think of nature soundscapes as an orchestra. Music, after all, is a universal language for us. And so I find it fitting to hear the splashes and the crescendos of the waves as something that we seek to recreate in music, and the bobbing and flowing of the waves forming this seemingly endless rhythm makes the orchestral piece of the island one of my favorites. And we are here looking for a particular kind of creature. An animal that many people see as truly bizarre but wondrous, the elephant seal. Where we are particularly today, we are going to be looking at the northern elephant seal. But there are actually 2 species, the southern elephant seal and the northern elephant seal. The southern elephant seal is the one that lives in those very harsh, cold, subantarctic and Antarctic waters. And so if we were to go and see the friend of the northern elephant seal, we would have to swap out our little hiking or rubber boots for some serious cold-resistant ones. The words I am using, elephant seal, is the common name that we have for this creature, but like all animals, this one has a scientific name as well. Marunga is the former name that both of the elephant seals share. The scientific name of the northern elephant seal is Marunga angustirostris, and for the southern, Marunga leonina. Marunga is a simple Latinization of mirurong, a word that is much more difficult to pronounce, which I probably also said incorrectly, but that is said to have been the original term for an Australian Aboriginal language that was used to describe this very animal. In the case of our northern elephant seal, angustirostris is a Latin word that means having a narrow beak. Now, we have to be a little bit liberal with our usage of the word beak. As we will see, or perhaps as you already know, they have quite the beak on them, or rather, quite the nose. These are carnivorous mammals. They love to form these huge groups on the island, a group that is called a colony of elephant seals, and these particular creatures will live only about 9 years on average. The southern elephant seal, surprisingly enough, in a much colder and harsher environment, will live nearly double at about 20 to 22 years on average. It is an impossible task not to talk about why they are called the elephant seal right off the top. They can be up to 20 feet in length and weigh up to 4.5 tons. To put this into some sort of perspective that we understand, 1 ton is the equivalent of over 2,000 pounds or around 1,000 kilograms. 1 grand piano is about half a ton, and so the elephant seal can weigh more than 8 grand pianos in weight. This is an elephant seal. The northern elephant seal can be found in both California and Baja California, but they will oftentimes frequent offshore islands rather than the North American mainland. And so that is why we are on an island today. The southern elephant seal, as we have learned, are in those subantarctic and Antarctic waters, spending much of their time on the Antarctic pack ice, huddled together like a bunch of little Vienna sausages. But the elephant seal is not actually called the elephant seal for their size, or at least for their size alone. They get their name from their inflatable, trunk-like snouts. So let us take it as a mere coincidence that they are also super large. So let us just take it as a happy coincidence they also happen to be massive creatures. These animals are quite different when it comes to the males and the females, something that is quite common among many of the species that we have covered thus far. The adult males will be significantly larger than the adult females. The adult male elephant seal is the one that can weigh up to 5 tons, while the females will weigh from between 7 to 800 kilos on average. Remember, 1 ton is 1,000 kilograms, and so the females will be about 1/4 of the weight of the male. These creatures are extremely social. They love to huddle together in big groups, and like many other animals, this is ramped up during the breeding season. Many of these individuals will rest on the beach for a long time. While they are resting, the seals are fasting. And the reason they can do so for quite some time is because they have large amounts of blubber, very energy and nutrient-dense blubber. And elephant seals will spend up to 80% of their entire lives in the ocean. They can hold their breath for longer than an hour and a half, much longer than most mammals. Once they leave this beach and go into the ocean, they can dive up to 1,500 meters, over 5,000 feet, beneath the ocean's surface. They have mechanisms by which they can tolerate that kind of water pressure. But although they can go that deep, it doesn't mean that they are there all the time. The average depth of their dives is from between 300 to 600 meters, just under 1,000 to 2,000 feet. So typically, they are going about 1/5 of their maximum in the water. As we learned at the top of the show, these are carnivorous creatures. They eat squid, ragfish, lanternfish, sometimes opting for eels, even small sharks, octopuses, but as we will learn, they are not free from predation themselves. Water can be quite cold depending on how deep you go. This is especially true if you are the southern elephant seal swimming in those cold Antarctic waters. But the elephant seal has a very important characteristic. That blubber that we talked about that allows them to fast long periods of time also allows them to be shielded from extreme cold. Blubber is a wonderful insulator. It is better than any winter jacket we could ever hope for. And after they have spent about 80% of the year roaming around and foraging, they will spend only a couple of months out on the land, and so as we are observing them here, we have to keep in mind that at some point near in the future, we won't be able to see them for 8 to 10 months. An important aspect of their physiology is one that contributes to how they can dive for both such a long period of time and so deep. When considered pound for pound, the elephant seal has 3 times as much blood as a human being, and their blood is also richer in hemoglobin, which is the molecule that carries oxygen. This is why they can dive for over an hour and a half at a time. And another very cool physiological fact, the reflex of shock when we go into cold water, one that may not be very comfortable for us, but it allows us to conserve oxygen and prioritize blood flow to those very vital organs. So while it may not feel very good, it is very important. We share this reflex with the elephant seal, that is true, but we also share it with all mammals. But in the elephant seal in particular, it is definitely more pronounced. This ability allows them to drastically slow their metabolism, making the most with the air that they have. Oxygen is a crucial part of how the body functions, and if you can drastically slow down the processes that require oxygen, like the elephant seal does, your need for another gulp of fresh air is going to be diminished. You could say that the elephant seal was made for this. Although the elephant seal is quite a large and formidable creature, they have their predators. Their main predator is, of course, the orca. As they go into the very northern parts of their natural range, they will have predators like large sharks. There is also a little bit of friendly fire going on with another seal species known as the leopard seal. These leopard seals will sometimes look for stray elephant seal young, which they will pick up promptly like a bunch of traitors. But the reason these leopard seals can eat these formidable young elephant seals is because when they are newborn, they will only weigh around 50 kilos. Within 3 months, they will weigh 150 kilograms. The leopard seal, by contrast, is 350 kilograms. And so this predator has only a small window of time in which they are able to physically consume this creature. Elephant seals are known for some of the most vehement battles when it comes time for mating season. As is a very common behavior among mammals, the males will compete with one another for access to the females. A single male will collect a group, also called a harem, of 40 to 50 females. These battles are equipped with roaring, aggressive posturing, and these beaches can turn into the Roman Colosseum of the animal world. There is much to be gained and there is much to be lost depending on these battles. The females will give birth to a single pup, that is, a single baby, each year after an 11-month pregnancy. And for a whole month, the mother and the pup can live strictly on the store of blubber of the mother. There is no need for blubber from another mother. Now that does not count as the dad joke of the episode, and because we have covered the name of this creature already, allow me to give you one more joke with the seal. What kind of music does the elephant seal listen to? Orchestras. Now I imagine for the elephant seal that wouldn't be music that it really enjoys, given that they are their foremost natural predator. I myself love orchestras, but My attendance would definitely dwindle if the performing musicians had a desire to physically consume me, but sometimes jokes have to bend the rules a little bit. Let us move on to the review of this episode. This review was written by HipHop9099, who wrote all the way from the United States of America, and HipHop writes, I had trouble sleeping before starting a new job, then found this podcast. Not only did I love relaxing to animal facts, but I also discovered that listening to this podcast led to wonderful, vivid dreams of animals. I can't recommend it enough and truly appreciate Stefan Wolfe's soothing voice. Hearing him read reviews at the end makes me feel connected to the other unique individuals who listen to this podcast. Well, Hip Hop, now that I am reading your review, I am unsure if you feel more connected to yourself. But regardless, thank you so much for leaving this wonderful review. I am so happy that the show helps you as it does. I don't know if anyone has ever told me that the show gives them more vivid dreams, but that is an interesting thought. If the show helps you at all, leaving a review like Hip Hop did is one of the biggest things that you can do. It only takes a moment and it means the world. If you would like to request an animal for a future episode, you can do so by going to relaxwithanimalfacts.com and going to the Animal Request tab. For more Relax with Animal Facts, that's an extra 4 episodes a month, an extra one every week, you can go to patreon.com/relaxwithanimalfacts. It's commitment free, there's even a free trial, and you can get all of that for $1 a month. The wildlife ambiance used in this episode is courtesy of George Vlad, whose work is linked in the description. I encourage you to go check out his YouTube, subscribe, like, and do all of that good stuff. The facts that were used in this episode came from nationalgeographic.com, elephantseal.org, and amnh.org. Those links are in the description. This episode wouldn't have been possible without them, and so I encourage you to go check them out. What an amazing creature we have covered today. A creature that is truly unique, that perhaps falls outside of the common conception of what is beautiful, but they are beautiful in their own way. A highly and finely tuned anatomy and physiology, making them perfect for their environment, making them quite the interesting creature to learn about. Thank you all for taking the time to join me on this adventure today, and I look forward to the next adventure together with the next animal. Take care.